That Jenga is back in this match. What a shot from Terminini from deep.
My.
Unbelievable. He unleashes just power.
Placement to the upper 90 back post, and the lead is ultimately asking the question, like, was this the best match of futsal on U.S. soil? From a perspective of an entire 40 minutes of futsal, two teams that are playing really good futsal. It's back and forth, but not because it's chaotic.
The intensity just kept increasing.
Yeah.
And it started at kickoff.
Very little drop off or mistake, and they just keep playing that really good futsal. This is what it's supposed to look like right here. There's no doubt that the environment, it's a part of what makes the game what it is. But I think like this is a game that if you took all that away and you just watched the game, it would be amazing still. They're currently down 2. Here's Hindich at the near post. She slots it in. What a placement.
Yeah, fantastic.
From number 9,
placement.
Medina Hindich. We take another look.
That's what,
wow.
You know, Ole has to be frustrated with the goalkeeping.
I was pleasantly surprised with how we did. I feel like we did compete to the level that we could. I think you could definitely tell, like, our lack of experience. I think some of our goals were generally just some mistakes, and I think it's like a combination of nerves and just not, you know, having the experience playing at the pace that we were playing. It's really fast, and I think if we tighten that up, like, we could have, you know, stayed really, like, there with them, which is cool. I think for our first game, especially going against a team like Ole, I was really proud of the way we played.
Yeah.
Made a fantastic play. You know, you want to make that pass to the back foot and really give your teammate an opportunity just to slot it home first time, but Aldama was not able to handle it.
Midwest are able to work it up. How about this back post? A pretty goal. Raul Montañez doubles the lead.
Look, Aldama could not handle the pass to put it away himself, so he said, you know what, Montañez, I'm going to give it back to you, Raul. With a little back heel flick, just roll over, give it back to him. Montañez ending the attack.
Couple now with it. Space inside. Shot. He finds the back of the net. Lansing City up by 1.
We haven't said it yet this season, but what a rocket from Jeremy Kleppel across.
Lyle turning his back, trying to get in front of it and also protect himself as Kleppel finds the side net and gives Lansing.
Nice run out of here at Lansing City. Oh, excellent play. Lansing City with a goal. We were just talking about Ole's ability to make the extra pass, and wouldn't you know it, Lansing City does the same exact thing.
Like, if I'm a fan of Midwest and I watch that game, and we have what I would be, in my opinion, one of the best keepers in the league, and he's not playing the second half.
And to Marco, what we saw, he gave up 6 goals. You know, Vicario was in there for 20 minutes. First half, didn't give up any. And so, like, that's a huge disparity. Sliding tackle, and if Montez saved that, outstanding effort as well.
Lansing City in the attack, moving it. Blanco, did he make it? He did, says the referee. Goal number 4 for Lansing City. They pull ahead.
There's a pass to Blanco.
Yeah, Blanco
got it.
Yeah, Blanco touched it. Did you hear me say Blanco puts it away? That's all right. It hit the inside back post. I just have to mention before we move on here, that game was so amazing. You know how many players under the age of 20 were part of it?
A lot.
Oh my goodness.
A lot of
Ethan Castaneda, there's been times where something that he does in the game is exposed, or mistakes and things like that. He was amazing in this game. Last week against Jinga he was, and in this game he played really well, and I think the things that Lansing City have been investing in are starting to pay off. Gamez putting heavy pressure on. And here he is. He finishes. Olé go up by 1.
And when you think about the addition of Daniel De Leon and what he means to this team, we told you that he was the assist leader last season. The goal, outstanding effort from De Leon to create that. Really good positioning and understanding.
We're ticking down to the final moments. Shoreline City trying to put something together. Aldoni Mendez, he's shielding off Hasevic's toe poke, finds the back of the net. Shoreline's up by 1 with a minute to play.
Wow, Aldoni Mendez just showing his intelligence to shield the ball, to not let Hasevic come through, and just to prevent, I mean, Hasevic is pulling at him, just to prevent any.
McKenzie plays it in, gets it right back to Ramsey Terminini. Weisenhunt's across. Whoa! Hold up! Ramsey Terminini from the circle.
And just like that, Jenga is back in this match. What a shot from Terminini from deep.
My.
Unbelievable. He unleashes just power.
Placement to the upper 90 back post, and the lead is ultimately asking the question, like, was this the best match of futsal on U.S. soil? From a perspective of an entire 40 minutes of futsal, 2 teams that are playing really good futsal. It's back and forth, but not because it's chaotic.
The intensity just kept increasing.
Yeah.
And it started at kickoff.
Very little drop off or mistake, and they just keep playing that really good futsal. This is what it's supposed to look like right here. There's no doubt that the environment, it's a part of what makes the game what it is. But I think like this is a game that if you took all that away and you just watched the game, it would be amazing still. They're currently down 2. Here's Hindich at the near post. She slots it in. What a placement.
Yeah, fantastic.
From number 9,
placement.
Medina Hindich. So we take another look.
That's what,
wow.
You know, Olé has to be frustrated with the goalkeeping.
I was pleasantly surprised with how we did. I feel like we did compete to the level that we could. I think you could definitely tell like our lack of experience. I think some of our goals were generally just some mistakes, and I think it's like a combination of nerves and just not, having the experience playing at the pace that we were playing. It's really fast, and I think if we tighten that up, like we could have, stayed.
Yeah.
Really like there with them, which is cool. I think for our first game, especially going against a team like Olé, I was really proud of the way we played.
Yeah.
Made a fantastic play. You want to make that pass to the back foot and really give your teammate an opportunity just to slide it home first time, but Aldama was not able to handle it.
Midwest are able to work it up. How about this back post? A pretty goal. Raul Montañez doubles the lead.
Look, Aldama could not handle the pass to put it away himself, so he said, you know what, Montañez, I'm going to give it back to you, Raul. With a little back heel flick, just roll over, give it back to him. Montañez ending the attack.
Kleppel now with it. Space inside. Shot. He finds the back of the net. Lansing City up by 1.
We haven't said it yet this season, but what a rocket from Jeremy Kleppel across.
Lyle turning his back, trying to get in front of it and also protect himself as Kleppel finds the side net and gives Lansing.
Nice run out of here, Lansing City. Oh, excellent play. Lansing City with a goal. We were just talking about Olé's ability to make the extra pass, and wouldn't you know it, Lansing City does the same exact thing.
Like, if I'm a fan of Midwest and I watch that game, and we have what I would be, in my opinion, one of the best keepers in the league, and he's not playing the second half.
And to Marco, what we saw, he gave up 6 goals. Vicario was in there for 20 minutes, first half, didn't give up any. And so, that's a huge disparity. sliding tackle, and if Montez saved that, outstanding effort as well.
Kansas City in the attack, moving it. Blanco, did he make it? He did, says the referee. Goal number 4 for Lansing City. They pull ahead.
It was a pass to Blanco.
Yeah, Blanco
got it.
Yeah,
Oh,
Blanco
wow.
touched it.
Great
Did you hear
effort.
me say Blanco puts it away? That's all right. It hit the inside back post. I just have to mention before we move on here, that game was so amazing. You know how many players under the age of 20 were a part of it?
A lot.
Oh my goodness.
A lot of them.
Ethan Castaneda, there's been times where something that he does in the game is exposed, or mistakes and things like that. He was amazing in this game. Last week against Jinga he was, and in this game he played really well, and I think the things that Lansing City have been investing in are starting to pay off. Gomez putting heavy pressure on. And here he is. He finishes. Olay go up by 1.
And when you think about the addition of Daniel De Leon and what he means to this team, we told you that he was the assist leader last season. The goal, outstanding effort from De Leon to create that. Really good positioning and understanding.
We're ticking down to the final moments. Shoreline City trying to put something together. Aldoni Mendez, he's shielding off Hasevic's toe poke, finds the back of the net. Shoreline's up by 1 with a minute to play.
Wow, Aldoni Mendez just showing his intelligence to shield the ball, to not let Hasevic come through, and just to prevent, I mean, Hasevic is pulling at him, just to prevent any.
McKenzie plays it in, gets it right back. Ramsey Termanini. Weisenhunt's across. Whoa! Hold up! Ramsey Termanini from the circle.
And just like that, Jinga is back in this match. What a shot from Termanini from deep.
My.
Unbelievable. He unleashes just power.
Placement to the upper 90 back post, and the lead is ultimately asking the question, like, was this the best match of futsal on U.S. soil? From a perspective of an entire 40 minutes of futsal, 2 teams that are playing really good futsal. It's back and forth, but not because it's chaotic.
The intensity just kept increasing.
Yeah.
And it started at kickoff.
Very little drop off or mistake, and they just keep playing that really good futsal. This is what it's supposed to look like right here. There's no doubt that the environment, it's a part of what makes the game what it is. But I think like this is a game that if you took all that away and you just watched the game, it would be amazing still. They're currently down 2. Here's Hindich at the near post. She slots it in. What a placement.
Yeah, fantastic.
From number 9,
placement.
Medina Hindich. So we take another look.
That's what,
wow.
You know, Olay has to be frustrated with the goalkeeping.
I was pleasantly surprised with how we did. I feel like we did compete to the level that we could. I think you could definitely tell like our lack of experience. I think some of our goals were generally just some mistakes, and I think it's like a combination of nerves and just not, having the experience playing at the pace that we were playing. It's really fast, and I think if we tighten that up, like we could have, stayed really like there with them, which is cool. I think for our first game, especially going against a team like Olay, I was really proud of the way we played.
Yeah.
Made a fantastic play. You want to make that pass to the back foot and really give your teammate an opportunity just to slide it home first time, but Aldama was not able to handle it.
Midwest are able to work it up. How about this back post? A pretty goal. Raul Montañez doubles the lead.
Look, Aldama could not handle the pass to put it away himself, so he said, you know what, Montañez, I'm going to give it back to you, Raul. With a little back heel flick, just roll over, give it back to him. Montañez ending the attack.
Kluppel now with it. Space inside. Shot. He finds the back of the net. Lansing City up by 1.
We haven't said it yet this season, but what a rock. And there were 3 red cards in that game. 3 red cards.
You could see it on their faces, like they would hit the post again, and they'd be like, "What is happening?"
And they only gave up 4 goals?
But it wasn't
In
competitive.
40 minutes?
It wasn't competitive.
4 goals!
A sign that a fan has made, a fan of Calvin Futsal made it. Chicago House is grabbing the sign, holding it up, and they're passing it around.
The ball sticks to his feet. Like, I don't think that you should have seen him at practice last night. He was just toying with us. I ain't gonna lie.
What level of crazy do you need to be a goalkeeper in futsal?
11. 11. No one woke up one day and said, I want to be a keeper today. I didn't want to be a goalie.
Welcome, everyone, to the Third Half Podcast. I'm Jared Kleppel, bringing on a special guest tonight. We'll get to that in a moment. This podcast is brought to you by Jolt Creativity. Destroy the lie that says, I am not creative. Episode 23. We're on week. What week of this is this of this season? We're just about to start week. We had a bunch of cancellations last week, which was a bummer. 1 game, which was awesome. Week 6 is this week. 6 weeks into the season already. And we have 1 game to recap, a few games to talk about. But most importantly, bringing on a special guest tonight. One of the best, arguably the best, some may say the best, goalkeeper in the FCS. Led the league in save percentage and goals against average last year. Really doesn't need any introduction, but decided to make him an introduction anyways. So let's meet him. And one of the reasons they've been so good is their goalkeeper, Frankie Mendoza.
Yeah, Frankie Mendoza has been outstanding. He has the highest save percentage in the league.
Number 12 for Olay, and net denies that opportunity. Mendoza is there with a yell. Mendoza taking care of business.
Frankie Mendoza's on another level.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome to today's show Frankie Mendoza, goalkeeper of Olay Futsal. Frankie, so much for driving all the way out here and joining me tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's great to have you on the show. So here's how it's going to go for those of you watching. Typically, when we've invited a player on in the past, we kind of do a fun interview. We get to know who the player is, and then we say, see you later, and we continue with the show. But tonight, we are inviting Frankie on to give some of his take on some of the things around the league and the games that are coming up, as well as games he's played in the past. And it's something that maybe we'll be introducing as time goes on. So, but first, we do want to get to know who this goalkeeper is, as it looks like your fans are showing up in the chat. Frankie, can't wait to see what they have to say tonight. It's probably going to be a mix.
Right.
You never really know what they'll get from you. But first, the first thing I really want to know, Frankie, is what is your, like, the name on your birth certificate? Is it Frank? Is it Franklin? Because I always call you Frankie, but what is that? If I'm allowed to ask.
Nah, yeah, you're good. So on my birth certificate, My real name is Francisco Mendoza,
Okay.
but I just got stuck with the nickname Frankie as a little kid,
Yeah.
and every time I meet somebody new, they're like, "Oh, what's your name? What's your name?" I just tell them Frankie, nice and simple.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. So now everyone knows that's where Frankie comes from. My next question is, what's your social security number? I'm just kidding. So how did you get into the game of futsal? That's like my number one. Like, give us the journey of your sports athletics that brought you to joining futsal.
Yeah, so it really started off when about the age 5 or 6, I want to say. Started off in a rec program playing in Grand Rapids. Played about a year there, and our rec coach at the time was introducing us into playing all year round. So, so we're staying active and, making sure we don't, lose our endurance or anything. And we played in there's some couple futsal courts in near where we live, and there was like a league at the time. And I remember one of our very first games was against a team called Olay. And going into the game, I never heard of them or anything. Growing up, I was just a kid that was just able to shoot hard, honestly.
Yeah.
I didn't really have anything else on the table, I'm going to be honest. But
But you could hit that sucker.
right.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, for sure. And then we played Olay, very first game of the season. We definitely got destroyed, I'll tell you that. I think the score was like 8-2, 7-2.
Oh man, this was you were playing for a rec league team.
Yes.
And then you faced that. Just seems unfair.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, so we lost the game, and I remember one of the players' dads came up to my dad, and he mentioned about joining Olay, and sure enough, a couple months go by, I say goodbye to rec soccer and join Olay.
Wow, that's amazing. So how old were you at that point when you joined Olay for the first time?
So when I joined Olay the first time, I want to say 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have been trying to figure out the timeline because Olay came before ABK, right?
Yes.
And then it came after as well.
Yes.
Right? So you joined Olay before ABK happened.
Yep.
And Fabian was he running that?
Yes.
Okay.
So Fabian was running that with a couple other coaches as well.
Okay.
But my first couple years with Olay, Fabian was my coach.
Okay. Wow. So right out of the gate, you have someone like Fabian Rodriguez, who I know we can probably talk later about his impact on you guys' team in futsal in Grand Rapids. But right out of the gate, you have him as a coach. What was that like at 6, 7, 8?
It was for sure an eye opener, because I played barely a year in rec soccer, so definitely for sure an eye opener. He definitely throughout the years helped me build up my IQ for the game of soccer and futsal.
Yeah.
So I remember getting introduced to futsal in the winter, and I was like, "What are we doing?" I was like, "This isn't even." I was like, the court's way too small. I was like, "We're gonna struggle." And then he actually started breaking it down, running through plays, and
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, this is actually pretty fun.
Yeah. So did you start playing at goalkeeper, or were you playing in the field?
I did not. I started playing on the field first.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's funny. A lot of people have asked me, when did you make that transition towards goal? And I want to say I was like 11 or 12 when I made that transition. First, we had 2 goalies in a way, 2 players that knew how to play goalie, and it was me and another guy, and we would always just switch halves, like how me and Andres do right now, and that's just the way we started. And I remember one time he ended up leaving for another club, and Fabian was like, "Well, it looks like it's just gonna be you for now." I was like, "All right, I'll give it a shot." And then from that day forward, I became a full-time goalie.
Wow. So at the time when you were splitting halves, were you in the half you weren't playing goal? Were you on the court?
Yes, I was on the field.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. So that was kind of the switch to goalkeeper. You said 11 or 12.
Yes.
And then you kind of just made that your main thing for a while. That's awesome. So in your journey of playing futsal, did you also play like soccer alongside, like during the other months?
Yes, I did. So in the fall and in the springtime, and then in the summertime as well, I played soccer. Played for a couple clubs. I bounced around a lot, for sure. I want to say from all the teams in Grand Rapids. But I think I guess my favorite and strong suit for soccer or futsal would have to be futsal, for sure.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not, I play, just, Sunday league in Grand Rapids, but
Yeah.
it's honestly, in my opinion, it's just for fun.
Yeah.
Just keep touches on the ball, but I for sure put all my forth and effort for sure in
Yeah.
futsal.
When did that decision happen for you, where you went all in on futsal?
I want to say right probably my senior year of high school.
Okay.
Cause I was talking to my parents. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do,
Yeah.
And a lot of my teammates know this. But I went to go study in California for about a year. I studied there at a university called Westcliff University.
Okay.
They were the very first program to ever have a futsal team.
Oh, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you went there during that time when they had the first
Yeah. So
futsal program. Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Before that, any of that happened, though, I was stuck in the moment of going to college local and sticking to outdoor, or going, halfway across the United States and playing futsal, the sport that I love. And it was definitely a hard decision to make.
Yeah.
But I just went with my gut feeling, and I don't regret it at all, for sure. I mean, I stayed with a couple roommates there that were, awesome at futsal.
Yeah.
Very fun to hang out with, for sure. Yeah. So for sure I would say about senior year high school, and then finally in that summer, that transition, you just got done graduating.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? And I just made that decision, and then I was like, I'm gonna just take that risk.
Yeah. Wow. So what happened? What ended up happening with their futsal program? Like, because you only stayed out there for a short period of time. Is that right?
Yeah. So I only stayed down there about a year, I want to say.
Okay.
About a year. I want to say that not a lot of other schools really had the same idea
Yeah.
of starting a futsal program.
Well, that's kind of what I was wondering, because if you're the first school
Right.
to start one, who do you play?
Right.
Was that a challenge?
It was for sure. It was a lot of traveling, I'll tell you
okay.
that. So we
Yeah.
were located in Irvine. Irvine's about an hour north of San Diego. So we're a little bit down south.
Okay.
But so we would travel. I remember we would travel to like LA just to play a game. That was like an hour and 20-minute drive
Wow.
just to play one game. Same thing. We would travel to San Diego, play one game, come back.
Yeah.
We even traveled to Mexico,
Oh, wow.
Tijuana,
Okay.
crossed the border a couple times to play a couple actual street soccer games.
Wow.
That was for sure a good experience as well.
Wow. Yeah, so that's one of my questions actually was talking about like memorable matches. So Can you tell me what was so I think you said that was just like a great experience or awesome. Tell me about that when you went to play in Tijuana.
So I remember showing up to the facility. I'm like, oh, it's a pretty, it's like a big basketball court, seats around and everything. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be pretty cool. And then our coach comes back and he goes, yeah, this is not the court we're going to play on. I was like, what? So then we started walking outside, and this is like, I want to say like close to Christmas break.
Okay.
So
like now.
Yeah.
like now time.
So we're we're in basically like puffer jackets, and it's pretty cold outside. So then we start walking outside, and then we see the other team start warming up, and we're playing futsal on a cement court. And I was like,
wow,
this is going to be interesting for sure. So then, we start warming up, and I had a lot of layers on. I'm not going to lie. It was I want to say I had about 2 shirts and then my actual jersey. And then I had like shorts, tights, my knee pads. I remember double socking my actual socks and then actually putting on my soccer socks. I mean, it was.
Wow.
I mean, the weather part doesn't sound fun, but I mean, other than that, I mean, the environment was pretty nice. I felt like, I think I would definitely compare it to is playing a home game at Olay for sure.
Wow.
But you're the away team.
But you're the away team.
Yeah. I mean, there's people, yelling at you, some people are yelling at you, some people are cheering you on, but it was for sure definitely an eye-opening experience.
Wow.
I mean, there's some really good players abroad, I would say.
Yeah. Wow. So my question about that was going to be goalkeeping, futsal, concrete. Sounds like a thumbs down.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Yeah. It was definitely painful. I remember we after the game, we were starting to pack up and we were about to leave to come back home, and we're leaving the facility, and I'm taking off my knee pads, and just my knee pad, you could just see all torn up, and I was like, "What?" Looks like I have to grab new knee pads, and there was holes on the tights that I was wearing that night, holes in the long sleeves.
Yeah.
I was putting all my forth and effort in that game because, the team was really, really good.
Yeah.
I will say that, and
Wow.
I was just for sure putting all forth effort to save everything for sure, and definitely came with the consequence, but it was definitely a great experience at the end of the day.
That's awesome. That's really cool. If you guys have any questions for Frankie Mendoza of Olay, be sure to put them in the chat. We'll be getting to those questions a little bit later on, but definitely put them in there. We'll scroll back up and find some good ones in a little bit. Let's see, what's the next good one? I have some questions kind of more about your futsal play, your experience on the team. But before I get there, I'm curious what drew you to futsal. Like, why do you play?
So one of the main reasons why, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, but a lot of goalies outdoor are like 6'2", 6'3", very tall, they take one step, they dive, they're already halfway across the goal.
Long arms, long legs.
Long legs. And then there's me. I'm on a good day 5'10". I don't want to, hype myself up over my height, but for sure on a good day 5'10", and it takes me a couple steps. And then when I dive, then I'm actually across the goal. But I feel like I guess I improved and showed actually like my worth, what I could play at in futsal for sure.
Wow. That's cool. Okay, sweet. So, here's kind of a fun one before we move on. What is like a hobby that you have that actually helps you in your futsal play?
I would say a hobby. I don't know if this would be considered a hobby, but I would say for sure listening to music.
Okay.
Music tends to, I guess, hype me up and calm me down in certain scenarios. Like if we're on a drive, to an away game, like for an example here, I'll be jamming the whole way here.
Yeah.
And then sometimes like in real life, outside of the futsal court, to say I tend to listen to more like relaxed music, dancing music.
Yeah.
So I would for sure say music. No matter what scenario I'm in, I either always have a headphone or a speaker. I'm always known as the DJ.
Yeah.
For our men's team.
Yeah, you're the Olay DJ.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's awesome. So cool. Speaking of your team Olay, I think I might have actually seen this in the chat too. But can you tell me what it's like to be a player on this team? Because I think many of us in the chat and myself as a commentator and host here on the show, I see you guys from afar. And really my beginning of watching you guys was last year in the FCS. But as a player to be like in the midst of it, and you have been for many years, and then now like on the semi-pro men's team, what is it like to have that badge and to play for Olay?
For sure feels pretty good. I would say that definitely you are held to higher expectations because, no matter what, we have two goalies. You know, you're depending how you practice and how you play determines if you're going to continue to play or you're just going to move down the line or get less minutes like in more tense games like in a semifinal or in a final. For sure, definitely I would say high expectations. High expectation and just being confident for sure. Because a player, I guess at Olay, I mean, back to the talk about high standards, we've been playing with each other for so long, and we notice when, a player's having a bad game.
Yeah.
So then we try to motivate them, try to bring them back to the game.
You know what each other's like peak is.
Yeah.
Right? Not just like, oh, they're like, Frankie led in 3 easy ones. It's like, oh, he was off by this much.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And,
That's a good point.
You might not see it, but, my teammates for sure yell at me for some of the goals I get scored, and I'm just like, you're right, and just shake it off and keep moving forward.
Wow. That's really cool. I know we had a chance before we came on you talked about what it meant to kind of hold each other to a higher standard and to have this team of players that has been together for so long and that you've been playing futsal for so long. Can you tell us a little bit more about just what that means for your team and the impact like we know it has an impact because we see it, but how deep does that impact really go?
With the impact, I would say going into impact, there would for sure be trust as well. We trust each other well enough to where we put each other in certain scenarios where we know that our teammate's going to succeed.
Yeah.
So, a great example, we know Jair Real, very good player with his feet. We want him to go against 1v1 against a defender, and, we feed him the ball on the sideline so he could go 1v1 because he could go both ways. Same thing with Sammy, Aaron, Caesar. It just develops a lot of trust for sure.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So for this team, we talked before you came on air. Actually, it was at the very beginning that you were coached by Fabian from an early age. Tell us about the impact that having a coach like him, who's he's been coaching futsal for a long time. Some teams in the league right now, the situation they're in is they have player coaches, so the coach isn't even always on the bench to see everything. What do you feel like has been – because we know there's a big impact. So what kind of – could you give us maybe an example or a picture into some type of moment where his, the impact of him as a coach was very clear?
Yeah, for sure. It's funny because I also coach as well.
Okay.
And last year I used to do a lot of goalie trainings, and a lot of goalies. So a lot of the players that play with us are like Sammy, Lito, Caesar, both Caesars. They have goalies as well. And growing up, every time I got scored on, I used to start to break down. So I used to start crying right away.
Wow.
Yeah, so would be a goal down, and I would just start bawling my bawling out. And I remember Fabian used to talk to me before and after games, and then about a year into it, I think I got rid of that habit. So, and it goes back to just passing it down, I guess. Fabian taught me that way. And there's certain scenarios where I'm watching a game of the youth players, and I could see the goalie's nervous or he's very anxious, he doesn't know what to do. And I, whenever we have a timeout or it's halftime, I for sure go over there and try to talk to them for sure.
That's really cool. So you coach a little bit. I think I saw this question in the chat. Do you have an all-time favorite save, like a moment in the game?
All-time favorite save,
or just one of the best? I know sometimes it's hard to be this was the number one, but what do you a moment that you feel like this was a really great moment for you?
I would say, the first one that comes to my mind is the semifinal last year against Detroit Imperial, where I think it's like the last 10, 20 seconds, and David Apoche plays it back post, and I don't know who it was at the back post, but they're literally wide open. And I guess just my first instinct was just to literally turn and just split save right away. And I guess it wasn't really an instinct. It was more of a reaction.
Yeah.
More of a reaction, just something that, I've trained over the years where as a goalie, you can't really train like other players would. So, like, you can't just train one specific thing, like, oh, just your right foot, oh, just your left foot, crab walking, or, that's just an example. But goalies, I feel like for training sessions are definitely more repetition. More repetition because growing up, one of the goalie coaches I had was, we might be doing the same thing every training, but realistically, how many of these type of shots would you face in a game? Like, how many shots would you actually face when it's actually the ball's getting played back post? How many times does that really happen in the game?
Yeah.
So I guess it's just more repetition, and I mean, just getting into that habit, and it's just more of a reaction, I would say. And I think I still watch it to this day for sure.
Yeah, that save.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I was like, when I was putting together the clip that I showed you, I actually only pulled from like a few games. So like, what we saw was it wasn't even like an entire season of your play. It was just like a few games. And in one of the games, I think it was the final, I heard myself say something about a big save you made in the semis. And I was like, what was that save again? I forget what it was. And now you brought it up again. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's amazing. That's really cool. Great question from the chat there. Sticking with this, kind of talking about life as a goalkeeper, if you had to give like advice to, like, let's say there's aspiring goalkeepers in the chat that are youth players or something like that, and you would want to give them, hey, this is like sort of the most important piece of being a goalkeeper, what would you say?
I would say I would for sure say have a short memory. Short memory and self-confidence. I feel like, especially in the game of futsal, I mean, it depends on the opponent. It depends on the the game, for sure. But sometimes futsal games could be very high scoring, or very low scoring. So I mean, it becomes a factor where there's definitely questions asked if a goal is getting scored on 6 or 7 times, or even once or twice. I would say that definitely have a short memory. Just keep moving forward, because at the end of the day, if you still stick on that goal you just got scored on, another one's already going in. Yeah,
and you have to be pay attention to what's in front of you and not live back there, or else another one comes in. Okay, last question before we go to a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll shift our focus just a bit. But before we came on air, we just kind of had an impromptu conversation, and it came up that you were like, oh, yeah, in this situation in the game, I got the ball, and I wanted to play it to a player really quick, but then I was like, wait a minute, we've been defending for a long time. And that little interaction, I was like, whoa, oh my gosh, this is something I've never thought about from a goalkeeper's perspective before. So can you walk us through a moment like that, and what's going through your head in a moment that just seems so simple, like, oh, okay, Frankie's got it in his hands, he's about to distribute. Can you give us a snapshot of what's going through your head when you're about to do that? Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, when the ball goes out or I make a save, for an example, if the ball goes out, I'm literally walking towards the ball. I'm not jogging. I'm not sprinting. I'm literally walking towards the ball. And while I'm walking towards the ball, I get the ball, and right away, the first thing I look at is my pivot. Is he posting up? Is he far in the corner? Depending where he is, may play him the ball, maybe not. And then after that, I look at where my alas are. Are my alas a little bit higher, a little bit lower? If they're a little bit lower, do I have an opportunity to play my fixo in order for him to have enough space to get out of the back? If they're higher, I could just lay it down to my fixo and just literally step back. I mean, I just
I feel like I have enough trust in my teammates to where I could literally lay the ball maybe like a foot away from me, and I could just step back and I could just see him do everything right in front of me.
Yeah. Wow. That's really cool. I think that's really interesting to hear the things that are kind of going through your head in like certain scenarios. So I'll do one more before we go to break. So let's say you guys are playing defense and the opposing team is able to bring it into like the attacking half, so for kind of context, it's sort of a half court offense almost. What is going through your head as far as like what to prepare for, positioning and all that in a situation like that?
So it definitely depends on how far up they are in our half and like what side. So most of the time, how I like to set up is I like to step up a little bit higher when they're in our half, because I really like to like I mentioned earlier, I'm a really short goalie, so I really like to cut off my angles. I really like to favor on trusting myself and cutting that angle.
Yeah.
So like a great example, if the other team's Allah's dribbling down the line, I'm gonna step up and make him go back post. I'm leaving trust to myself that if he does play back post, I have enough time and space to just literally stick my foot out.
Yeah.
And I can win the ball. Or worst case scenario, my defense is already dropping back, and he wins the ball, and we just reset after that play.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I love the insight there. Looks like your teammate Cesar Lyle got in the chat. How do you feel about this question? You want to answer that one?
It seems like he already knows the answer that one.
That's what I was thinking. Awesome. So goalkeeper Frankie Mendoza overlay joining us here on the show. We're going to take a quick break, go to commercial, and when we come back, Frankie's still going to be here. He's going to be here the whole show, so you got any more questions, put them in the chat. We're going to chat a little bit about some games maybe that he's played in the FCS, as well as games that happened this weekend and games that are coming up. That's all coming up on the other side, so don't go anywhere. We're just seeing ourselves again and again. Let's actually go to break. Couple now with it. Space inside. Shot. He finds the back of the net. Lansing City up by 1.
We haven't said it yet this season, but what a rocket from Jeremy Kleppel across.
Lyle turning his back, trying to get in front of it and also protect himself as Kleppel finds the side net and gives Lansing.
Committing a crime so you can try to escape from prison. Bad idea. Going to the pod escape room to play an escape game with your friends. Great idea. Test your skill as an astronaut in outer space. Find Santa in Save Christmas. Or take a vacation to an abandoned island. Just don't get stuck there. The Pod Escape Room. Learn more at thepodlansing.com.
Nice run out of here, Lansing City. Oh, excellent play. Lansing City with a goal. We were just talking about Ole's ability to make the extra pass, and wouldn't you know it, Lansing City does the same exact thing.
Like, if I'm a fan of Midwest and I watch that game, and we have what I would be, in my opinion, one of the best keepers in the league. And he's not playing the second half.
And to Marco, what we saw, he gave up 6 goals. Lucario was in there for 20 minutes. First half, didn't give up any. And so, that's a huge disparity.
You're watching the Futsal Champions Series on FCS Live.
sliding tackle, and if Montez saved that, outstanding effort as well.
Kansas City in the attack, moving it. Blanco, did he make it? He did, says the referee. Goal number 4 for Lansing City. They pull ahead.
There's a pass to Blanco.
Yeah, Blanco
got it.
Yeah, Blanco touched it.
Great
Did you hear me
effort.
say Blanco puts it away? That's all right. It hit the inside back post. I just have to mention before we move on here, that game was so amazing. You know how many players under the age of 20 were a part of it?
A lot.
Oh my goodness.
a lot of them.
Ethan Castaneda, there's been times where something that he does in the game is exposed, or mistakes and things like that. He was amazing in this game. Last week against Jinga he was, and in this game he played really well, and I think the things that Lansing City have been investing in are starting to pay off. Gomez putting heavy pressure on. And here he is. He finishes. Olay go up by 1.
And when you think about the addition of Daniel De Leon and what he means to this team, we told you that he was the assist leader last season. The goal. Outstanding effort from De Leon to create that. Really good positioning and understanding.
You're watching the Futsal Champions Series on FCS Live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Third Half podcast on this amazing Thursday night. Jared Kleppel joining me, special guest Frankie Mendoza of Olay. If you missed the first segment, we talked all about how he got involved in futsal, some awesome experiences. He had one in Mexico, a game on concrete, which is amazing to hear about, especially from a goalkeeper perspective. Had to get basically a whole new goalkeeper wardrobe after that one. So go back and listen to it if you missed it. But now we're going to move on and talk about some more futsal. So let's get into it. So where I wanted to start was, as I pull up your name tag here. Thanks again for being here. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
And if you have any questions for Frankie, feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll be browsing those as the show goes on. A couple weeks ago, you guys had your first game this year, still undefeated in the FCS, and including the finals, win last year. Only one tie. It's the only non-win that you've had at the beginning of last year. The National Showcase win. 2 come-from-behind victories in short games that were crazy. So you guys haven't lost yet, but a couple weeks ago you played Lansing here for your first game in 2026. And the question that we put up here on the show was this the best showing of futsal that we've seen in the U.S.? What do you think about that question? And if it's not this game, what is your best game that you've played in?
I mean, in my opinion, I feel like it wasn't the best game for sure played. Just the reason being, we just started off so slow. Just defensively, moving the ball, everything really wasn't in our flavor for sure. And for me, I think, this is just my opinion, but I feel like the best futsal game I've seen or been a part of was there's a tournament in New Jersey that the USSF, I think it's called.
Okay.
Holds every year, and I want to say 2 years ago we made it all the way to the final, and we played a team called Safira.
Okay.
Safira FC.
Yeah.
And it was just back and forth.
Wow.
We ended up getting scored on first, and then we scored, stays 1-1, go to overtime.
Wow.
We go to overtime, they scored first again, and then in the last couple minutes we ended up scoring, and that was the whole first half of extra time. So there was 2 goals in a span of, I want to say, 5 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're going into the second half of extra time in New Jersey, and I ended up Fabian ended up leaving me in the half, or for the whole extra time, sorry. So I stayed in the first half of extra time and then the second half of extra time as well. And in the second half of extra time, I ended up getting hurt.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I ended up I think I hit a nerve, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, so I ended up coming out, and the player shot it, but once he shot it, I think he tried to jump. And once he tried to jump, his knee just went full force right into my shoulder. So then I was out, and Andres goes in, and with the game's going good, the game starts getting intense. Both teams are at 5 fouls.
Oh, wow.
Last 30 seconds, we get a 6-foul PK called on us.
Wow.
So then, right, it's the last 30 seconds, we're we're pumping up Andres, but he really doesn't need that, in those type of scenarios. He's always, you'll always hear him for sure. I'll tell you that. And it's the 6-foul PK, and he takes it, and Andres makes the first save. But after he makes the first save, he ended up giving up a rebound, and they ended up scoring the rebound, and we ended up losing that final 3-2 in our very first year going to New Jersey. Caesar says I hate that story, but and but we all bring it up all the time because it was an intense but yet so fun game.
Wow.
Just attacking wise and defensive wise. Both teams really weren't making mistakes.
Wow.
We were both, were making plays, moving the ball, kicking plays, corner kicks, free kicks. You name it, really. I feel like that was best game I've watched and been a part of for sure.
Wow. That's awesome. And that was in New Jersey. Was it the finals for this tournament?
Yes.
The finals for this tournament, and it was against Safira.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow, you had me locked in for that whole story. I was like, dude, what's gonna happen, dude?
Yes.
What's gonna happen? That's awesome, really cool. So going back to this game that you guys played this year, 1-0, played here at the arena against Lansing. Tell me about coming to the game. Is there any context for you or your team coming into that game that fans wouldn't know about?
For sure. I would say the first thing, I mean, we always say this as you interview any Olay player and they're going to say defense comes first. And that's really an expectation we had for everybody.
Yeah.
Like you have to defend better than you actually attack.
Yeah.
I mean, because defensively it's so huge. I mean, you fall asleep for 1 second and boom, back post.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's seen it in the Lansing game. We fell asleep for those first couple minutes and we're down, 1-0 within the first minute.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just moments like that for sure. And then, I mean, obviously a very big one was just to watch Jimmy Couple for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you guys have mentioned that before. I think when Aaron Gomez was on the show, I can't remember how he put it, but it made me laugh how he put it. I don't know I can't remember what he said, but that's obviously something to look out for when you're playing against Lansing. So now take us into your shoes for that game. You played the first half, and then Andres got hurt, and hope he's okay. I don't know if he broke his nose or something, but I heard there was a lot of blood, and but he came out for a bit, and you had to kind of fill in for him. So in your shoes, what was it like being in net for this game?
So definitely ready. I would say ready, because you have to be honestly ready for anything. I mean, it could be for moments from a player getting injured, playing a position you're not used to, obviously. And I would say I was ready for sure, because when Andres got hurt, he was like in shock. Like, he didn't say a word.
Yeah.
Like, usually, like, when one of us gets scored on, we always try to motivate the team. Like, hey, let's go. And I remember he didn't say a word. And then I looked at him, and I just see just a ton of blood coming down. I was like, and I remember pointing it to Fabian. I was like, hey, he's bleeding a lot. I was like, we need to get him a sub. And I remember hopping in. Our plan was to just keep, I guess not my game plan, but Fabian's game plan was he told me to make sure to keep my teammates in check. Make sure they're following their player, staying in the low zone that we like to play a lot. And I mean, we ended up executing perfectly. And then he told us to choose our moments, when to go forward, when to start high pressing. We really like to mix it up between the low press and the high press for sure.
Yeah.
So we ended up doing that, and we ended up turning the game around. I think we were down 4-3 at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that the goal, he got hurt on a goal score, on a collision with Alessandro Blanco in the middle there. It looked like he got his knee to his face, which is like, oh my, that I saw it on replay. I was like, ouch, that is.
Yeah, so from what I heard, it was definitely he definitely broke it. So
ouch.
So and then it's funny too, cause he comes to training to watch us train the next week, and I was like, dude, you really wanted to go back in, didn't you? He goes, I was ready, man. He said, I kept telling Fabian to put me back in, but he didn't let me.
That's hilarious. Okay, so in this game, you mentioned this moment. You guys were down 4-3 at the time. What did you feel like was down the stretch the difference in this one that allowed you to come away with the victory?
I would say for sure the high press. The high press just off of kick-ins, goal kicks. Definitely the way we set up, we suck the other team in their own half, and like we just trap them basically, just like just wait like a lion waiting to attack a gazelle. In that scenario, we're just waiting for them to make a mistake, make them slip, make the wrong read in a pass, and next thing you know, it's a 3v1 right in front of goal. So.
Yeah. Nice. Awesome. What did you think about, at the end of the game, how did you feel like how did you feel about the result? Like, did you feel like it was a good game for you guys? What did you think?
It was very neutral feelings, I would say.
Okay.
Like, a lot of us agreed we played good, and also some of us agreed we didn't play our best. definitely not our best. I was one of the people that I think we didn't play our best.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it was definitely a neutral factor,
Okay.
I would say, because, I mean, just going back to those high expectation moments,
Yeah.
that all of us have for one another. And then we also have some of our teammates, like, a win's a win,
Yeah.
Like, it was dirty, it was ugly, but we ended up getting the win at the end of the day, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. So you guys got that win, going to 1-0. I think I might have saw a question here. Oh, here's a good one. What are your thoughts about how you guys train? I don't know if there's anything behind that or if that's just a fun question. Tell us about an Olay training session.
I would say a little bit of both. Coming from Caesar, I would say that for sure. But I would say, in my opinion, I think that trainings are way much more difficult than games. The reason being is because, I mean, just going back to what I was saying earlier was that we've been teammates for so long. We all know what that one player is going to do.
Yeah.
Like, an example, Jair's by himself. He's going to go 1v1. So then we trap him, see what he can do. And then, I mean, it's just scenarios like that. We try, if we know a team that likes to high press, they're going to high press, make the other team uncomfortable. It was funny because Caesar even mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but he said that Olay can't even beat Olay in training sessions. There's been I think it's been like 2 weeks now where we ended up in a tie.
Oh, wow.
In a little scrimmage at the end.
Yeah.
At the end of the trainings. So
That's funny.
And he said that, and I thought that was pretty funny because we can't even beat ourselves in training.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Question from the chat: being in the position you are, playing at a high level in the U.S. and in the FCS, do you have any players that inspired you as, like, when you were kind of growing into this role in goalkeeper, that you would want to point out?
Yeah, I would say professional-wise, I would say Inker Casillas.
Okay.
Player, goalkeeper from Real Madrid.
Okay.
'Cause he's more on, my scale, shorter goalie.
Yeah.
Relies on his reaction saves. He likes to he tends to stay more on his line.
Yeah.
And compared to, like, Manuel Neuer, changed the game completely for goalies. He likes to come outside of his box.
Yeah.
Clear the ball, be the last line of defense. And I for sure would say Iker Casillas. A lot of my teammates and old teammates have for sure compared me to him.
Wow.
So, I mean, in my opinion, I think we play exactly the same. We rely on reactions. We're short guys. We don't really like to come out, but if we have to, we will.
Yeah.
But I would say, yeah, for sure, Iker Casillas.
That's cool. That's awesome. Looking ahead for you guys, don't play this weekend, but you guys play in 2 weeks, December 13th. You have your first home game against Chicago House. We don't have to get into that game, but what do you think you guys will need to bring to get a result in that game?
In my opinion, I think we just need to be, as long as we have a game plan set up and ready, we're gonna dominate the whole game. And it just goes back to last year. Last year was the same scenario. We started off rough in our first game. We ended up tying last year, but then this year we ended up winning.
Yeah.
And as the season progressed, we for sure cleaned it up and we just started dominating teams. And I feel like it's gonna be the same thing this year. Just we keep cleaning up our act. Each game goes by. I think as the games go by, we're gonna get more experience and for sure just start dominating teams within the next 2 to 3 games.
Next 2 to 3 games, which the game after that for you guys is a big one. We're going to mention that one at the end, but it's the Grand Rapids Red versus Blue, which is a really exciting one that everyone looks forward to. So let's shift our focus a bit to talking about some of the things that are going on in the league. So I'll mention this one really quick because I talked to you and I know you hadn't seen this one. So this is the game that happened this past weekend. Detroit took care of business at home 10-4. Second time they played Innovation this year, same score. It was a little tricky to get a good feel for the game. The camera angle wasn't great, but I did see a couple of things. The Davide Poche had a nice goal at the beginning. Detroit's second goal, I actually really liked their second goal. They it was kind of a building play, some one touches. It actually looked really nice, and that's something that it was great to see. It's tricky. Playing Innovation again, they won big again. First game was a little more competitive. This one wasn't as competitive, in my opinion. And the things that Detroit did well, I think the question is, okay, this is against Innovation, who they're obviously having a tough time in the league right now. And what they're doing, what Innovation is doing is really hard. I mean, they're starting a futsal team from scratch, from nothing. They really don't have like a couple of futsal veteran players, you could say, like, that have a lot of futsal experience to kind of help them in that. So it's to me, I think I said this a week or two ago, but for me, I think Detroit, you circle. I think it's January 10th is when they play a team that's not either Jenga or Innovation, and I think that's when their season's really going to start. They're going to be seeing Lansing City on that day. The next weekend they play Chicago House, and then the weekend after that they play you guys. So to me, I think those are some things we saw in Detroit in that game, and now it's like, okay, what are we going to see as the season goes on, and when they start playing some opponents that are going to give them a little bit more of a challenge. Anything to add about this game?
The better team won.
The better team won. That's what Frankie says. So let's go ahead and we'll move on to games that are upcoming for this weekend. First, we have a women's game, Shoreline versus Chicago. These are two brand new women's squads that open up play in Muskegon. I know really nothing about the Shoreline team, but I did have a chat with Ramon Hernandez, who is coaching the Chicago women's team. He told me that a lot of the players have a couple of years of futsal history, even though this is like their first really official team. A lot of them play in the same outdoor squad. A couple of names to throw out that he said to look out for: Mackenzie Rogers, who plays at Michigan State; Kelly Hefner, also a lady by the name of Keegan, plays at, I think he said it was Minnesota University. So a couple of players to look out for there. And again, I don't know much about the Shoreline team. The one thing that's interesting for me about this is after this game, we will have seen all four women's teams play. So now we'll have a little bit of an idea of, okay, this is what's out there. Do you know anything about these teams that are playing on this day?
No, not really. Not that I'm aware of. I know that one of the players from Chicago House has a little sister that's playing on that team, I believe.
Okay.
I think his name was Rafael Hernandez.
Okay, and he has a sister playing?
I think so. I could be wrong. Or
actually,
I don't know. I might have got somebody confused, but I know somebody that's related is playing on that team.
Yes, I think I have her name written down here. I don't know if I'm going to say it right. Yuridia Hernandez.
Yeah,
I think.
Yep.
And Ramon said she might be the youngest player on the court. Mm-hmm. So, have you seen her play before?
I have not.
Have not. Okay.
But that's the only piece of information.
That's the information you know.
The only
Got
piece
it.
of information.
And that's that's kind of what for when we had the first women's game, Lansing and Olay. We were in a similar situation. I know that you guys have had, women's squads for a period of time. The Lansing one, it was like we basically know nothing. So once these games start to play, then we'll be able to have some more things to say, I think, about these games. But that one is Saturday at 2 p.m. We are planning to broadcast that one, so you can jump on FCS Live right here on the YouTube channel and catch FCS women's action, second game of the year. So then right after that, it's a doubleheader in Muskegon. And this is an interesting rematch. These two teams played in Chicago for Chicago House's second game. and that one Shoreline won 9-5. I believe the stat was 7 10-meter penalties.
Yeah.
In this game.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a game with that many 7-meter penalties or 10-meter penalties?
I don't think I've ever seen a game with one side has more than one or two.
Or two. Yeah.
6 foul PKs for sure. It was definitely a weird game, I would say.
Yeah.
A weird game for sure. I just remember watching the game live. I'm like, I think right before the half, I think each team shot at least one 6 foul PK.
Yeah, right at the end. So if I remember correctly, Shoreline was up 2-0, and they scored like really fast.
Mm-hmm.
So, after the game they had against Midwest the day before, it was like, oh no, this is probably not going to go well. Well, they don't give up any more goals until near the end of the first half, like you're talking about. Chicago got one, they put it away.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm pretty sure there were 4 given to Shoreline in just that last part of the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Mendoza came up and scored 3 out of those 4.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that definitely shakes it up. Ultimately, Shoreline did score 4 10-meter penalties,
Mm-hmm.
and they win by 4. In my opinion, I felt like Shoreline kind of let up as the game in some moments.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I guess what I would say is I didn't feel like the 4 PKs were like this was the only difference in the game. What do you think?
In my opinion, I mean, just taking away obviously all the 6 foul PKs, going really into depth with just how the teams were playing, but how both teams were playing when they had the ball and when they didn't have the ball. I feel like the better team that day was for sure Shoreline.
Okay. Yeah, and they ended up taking that one by 4 goals. So in this one, a couple of thoughts that I have for Chicago, and this is probably going to sound a lot like what I said last week because they were supposed to play Lansing this past weekend.
Mm.
And so the situation really hasn't changed after that postponed game. I really feel like Chicago, even though they had a pretty poor performance in the first game, actually chatting with Ramon, it was his words that he said that it was embarrassing in that first one. And then the second game, it was a little bit better, but I think it wasn't what they desired to be certain. And it seems like they have some pieces that like they have some talent, they have some young players, and it seems like they need to be activated. They need to be kind of organized in a way that is like the best for them. And, we saw some lack of discipline in that game of not returning to get back. I mean, you talked about the importance that you guys put on defense. And when you lose the ball, that's like, you got to get back.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw that, quite a bit in that weekend when they lost to Midwest and Shoreline. So for me, Chicago House is one of those teams that I think there's potential for them to show much more than what we've seen in this season. But I think I'm not certain of what we'll see. But I think there is that potential there for talent. For Shoreline, and this is basically the same thing I said last week, is they look pretty good, but only for about 20% of the game. When Alex Mendoza is on the court, Aldoni Mendoza is on the court, Chris Mendoza is on the court, which came from you guys.
Yep.
He's been a huge piece of the Shoreline team. When those 2 players are on the court, we see there's some moments that they look very good. They play into Alex. He distributes. Aldoni does well, taking players on and creating. And actually, in their most recent game, Miguel Cervantes had a really good distribution as well. I think he brought the ball up the court and passed it, and it was a really good long diagonal to Aldoni right on the correct foot for him. But it seems like they have some trouble with fitness and their second line. The play drops off. So it's tough for me to see them being really competitive at the highest level we've seen in this league for a full game. Now, that being said, they came back and tied Midwest, and you can't forget about that. But to me, the biggest factor in that one was Jose Vicario not playing in the second half. I think he's one of the best in the league. I know from a goalkeeper standpoint, I'm sure you have a lot of respect for the guys that choose to stand in there for any of the teams.
Yeah, I would say you just have to be a maniac to play the position. We didn't wake up one day and say, you know what, I would love to try out to be a goalie today. I feel like for a goalie, I feel like the you don't really choose the position really chooses you. So what I would like to put in that perspective is like, me when I was first, starting as a goalie, I didn't really know anything about it. So the only thing I really knew was just to, I guess, at that time, dive. But all I really was doing was just throwing myself. I was just throwing myself. And then, I got a lot of compliments from parents as a young kid, during that game. And I just stuck with it at that point. So I would say definitely crazy.
Yeah.
Because, players that shoot in this league, they're not shooting soft at all.
Oh yeah, no.
No, and some players are even talented enough to where they could shoot as hard on their right foot and on their left foot.
Yeah.
So for sure, I would say for sure crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a bit we put into that intro with our interview with Jose Vicario when he said you had to be a level 11 crazy to be a goalkeeper in futsal. Coming back to this game here as we wrap up for this one, a couple of players that I would keep my eye on. Rafael Hernandez for Chicago House. In the summer, I felt like he showed the potential to be a top player in the league, and I still think he has that potential. So I'd keep my eye on him. Felipe Marroquin also for Chicago House. I felt like he has great potential, especially at the pivot spot. They could maybe play into him and play off of him. Really, there was some moments where Chicago House would go 1v1, but it was often not in a dangerous position. So can we, will we see them kind of focus in those moments where they're going 1v1 in situations that are really beneficial for it? Those are a couple players that I think of. For Shoreline, the players that I mentioned, the three Mendezes, Chris, Alex, and Aldoni, I think are their core. And are they able to play a lot of the game? Are they able to have the fitness to play more of the game? I think talking about goalkeepers, Miguel Cervantes has been doing it for a long time, and he's solid in net for them. He loves to come up and fly and get involved into the attack. So definitely look for that as well. The next game, this is the last one for the weekend. And if there's a game that I'm circling as far as the one, if I could only watch one this weekend, this is the one. Lansing City hosting Midwest United Saturday at 7 p.m. in the arena. Last year, Midwest 2-0 against Lansing City. Frankie, what are you seeing as the outlook for this match?
So, for the outlook for this match, I would for sure say which team is going to make the least amount of mistakes. And it's just part of the game of futsal, honestly. And in my opinion, I feel like the team that makes the least amount of mistakes is going to win the game. And in my opinion, I think that Lansing City would pretty much take this one, take a win against Midwest.
Okay. Do you have a thought on potential scoreline or like margin?
Potential scoreline, I'm gonna say I feel like it's really gonna be a close one. I'm gonna say 4-2 Lansing City.
4-2 Lansing City. I bring up a good point with mistakes, especially for Lansing City last year. That was a key component of how their season went, was a lot of mistakes in times that were or in situations that were very, I don't know what to say, giving up goals impactful. I mean, you probably know if you make a mistake in goal, it's likely a goal, right?
Yeah.
And if you make a mistake as a court player, it can turn around to be a goal, but there can sometimes be more opportunity. And that was a story that was, Lansing City for a lot of last year, is these mistakes in the back, sometimes goalkeeper, sometimes in defending, or not defending, but in the defending half. So the point of which team makes the least amount of mistakes. I think I would agree with you that I think Lansing City will probably take this one at home. They lost twice to Midwest last year. They were both very close. The first one was 22 goals.
Yeah.
I think it was outside of any game played. against the worst team in the league last year. I think that was the most accumulative goals for any match. Lansing City went down by 6-0 in like the first, I don't know, it was like maybe 10 minutes. They come back and it's even at 7 apiece. 6 or 7 apiece, and then Midwest end up winning 12-10, and that was the matchup at Lansing City last year. For me, I felt like we saw a new level of Lansing City play in the game that they played against you guys. And now the question for me is, can they do it again? Is there consistency to that level of play? We saw some amazing play from Alessandro Blanco. He feels like a new player this year. We saw some really good growth from the young players. Drew Barney, Jack Fisher, Ethan Castaneda in goal. I thought he played really good. And Diego Bobadilla seemed like he kind of had a fire in him. So the question is that can this play continue? And I feel like if that level of play continues, I think that they can take this one maybe by like 4. If that play doesn't continue, then on the Midwest side, Jose Vicario, one of the best goalkeepers in the league in my opinion. He is very good. Fikret Hasovic is very good. Anthony Leon is very good. A player that we haven't talked about a lot, but I think has impact, Joseph Abden. I think he has impact for this team. And Gio Garcia is another player that I mentioned here because we didn't really get to see him really as a player last year because he was a player coach, or mostly a coach, and just played in the games that they didn't have as many players. So I'm interested to see as the season goes on what kind of impact he can have, because I saw, especially in the summer, there were some moments that he surprised me. So I'm curious to see what he brings as the season goes on. One of the keys, I think, for Midwest is how to take the offensive load off of Fikret. I think Fikret does. I mean, he's a really great player, and he creates a lot. Is there anything that can be done to help take that offensive load off of him? But, I mean, regardless, I think this is going to be a great game. I think it's going to be super exciting. This Saturday at 7 p.m., 2 blue teams going at it. Midwest United has only played one so far. They have a tie against Shoreline, and Lansing City is at 1-1 with the win against Jinga and the loss against Olay. You guys are actually going to be playing. I don't have a headliner for this, but as one of the last things that I wanted to mention, coming up soon, not next week, but 2 weeks. Is this correct? Yes. December 20th. Red versus blue. Grand Rapids will be fought for. Olay Futsal Club hosting Midwest United. Of course, you guys have not lost yet in the FCS. What can you say about this one to get fans excited if they weren't already?
I would for sure circle that game. It's always a very fun game to watch for sure. I mean, just going back to last year. I mean, take an example, the first game that we played against them, a very good game in my opinion. Both teams, were doing their jobs defensively and attacking wise, and we ended up causing a little bit more mistakes towards the back, and that eventually cost us. Losing the ball in the back is really, really ideal in the game of futsal, because all he has to do is literally just toe poke it, and it's a 50-50 chance that the ball's going to go in.
Yeah.
And but I would for sure say, if I had one word to describe that game, I would definitely say war.
War. The war for Grand Rapids. That's on December 20th. Olay Futsal Club hosting Midwest United. Of course, in the FCS, you guys have not lost to them. Finals rematch. This is the first time we're seeing you guys play Midwest in an FCS regular season match since the finals. So don't miss the finals rematch on December 20th. Frankie Mendoza and Olay will host Midwest United. So that's it. We made it through the whole show. Any final words you'd like to say to those that tuned in?
just thank you. Honestly, thank you, because a lot of them are a lot of supporters, a lot of people that I know personally, whether it's family, friends, teammates, and then I also have people on the opposite side as well, people that don't really like me, I would say, or have a second opinion about me, and I would like to say thank you to them as well for obviously keep me motivated, because either way, the people that I know always keep me motivated, and if that's not enough, I always end up looking towards the opposite side, and that just gives me even more fired up.
Well, it was great to have you on the show tonight, Frankie. Ladies and gentlemen, Frankie Mendoza of LA Futsal Club. Thank you so much for tuning into the third half tonight. We have 3 games this weekend, Saturday 2 p.m., 5 p.m., and 7 right here on FCS Live YouTube. We will see you guys there. Thank you for tuning in, and good night. We're ticking down to the final moments. Shoreline City trying to put something together. Aldoni Mendez, he's shielding off Hasevic's toe poke, finds the back of the net. Shoreline's up by 1 with a minute to play.
Wow, Aldoni Mendez just showing his intelligence to shield the ball, to not let Hasevic come through, and just to prevent, Hasevic is pulling at him, just to prevent any.
Committing a crime so you can try to escape from prison. Bad idea. Going to the pod escape room to play an escape game with your friends. Great idea. Test your skill as an astronaut in outer space. Find Santa in Save Christmas. Or take a vacation to an abandoned island. Just don't get stuck there. The Pod Escape Room. Learn more at thepodlansing.com.
Kenzie plays it in, gets it right back to Ramsey Termanini. Weisenhunt's across. Whoa! Hold up! Ramsey Termanini from the circle.
And just like that, Jenga is back in this match. What a shot from Termanini from deep.
My.
Unbelievable. He unleashes just power.
Placement to the upper 90 back post, and the lead is ultimately asking the question.